Level 1. Leasing Office Screener. You stop counting hours at 21, $2,600 a month behind you. Along the cracked property walkway, prospects follow as you lead them past mailboxes, laundry rooms, and patios. You sort blank lease packets inside the plastic drawer for manager approvals. From the open manager doorway, the property manager pushes vacancy pressure across your desk. You collect IDs, pay stubs, fees, and rental histories across the counter. At the break room vending machine, your bank declines the card while you hold applicant statements. You compare handwriting, addresses, and pay dates across rental history forms. Inside the packed leasing lobby, 6 families wait while the leasing agent feeds applications through the printer. You polish scuffed black dress shoes before walking prospects through empty apartments. At the sticky note desk phone, landlords answer while prospects watch your face. You stand stiff beside the coughing shared printer during approval jams. On the laminated availability board, you track units nobody fully trusts. A nervous couple argues over pay stubs while you hold the envelope. You escort families through model kitchens staged beyond anything you can afford. Between tours, maintenance workers cross the property with tool belts swinging at their hips. You post an overdue rent notice after the fast-approved tenant stops paying. Under the fluorescent ceiling, the manager blames you while you keep silent. You open the disputed tenant file while the property manager lists warning signs. On the background check report, unfamiliar codes change approvals as you read them. You file money order receipts after applicants leave the office with keys. At the glass door, you lock up while new residents celebrate outside. You study key tags assigned by decisions made above your desk. After closing, you linger alone beside forms on the darkened leasing desk. You press the approval stamp beside the tour sheet and feel power shift. Inside the tenant screening packet, you chase the reports that decide who gets keys. Level 2. County Records Runner. Turning 23 at the courthouse parking garage, take-home hits $3,400 a month. You drive between counties with files sliding inside the used compact car. In records rooms, clerks point you toward terminals while you photograph dockets through a cracked smartphone screen. You pack chargers, ID badges, legal pads, and fee schedules into the bag. At the beige terminal, you search evictions and criminal filings for landlords. Beside attorneys' polished black SUVs, you feed quarters into the parking meter outside court. You ask for rush help at the civil clerk window, and the clerk refuses. Across county request forms, you match names, birthdays, addresses, and aliases. Metal shelves, ladders, terminals, and stamping clerks crowd your records room sprint. You photograph dockets and send results from tiled courthouse hallways. In the vending machine alcove, you eat standing beside waiting files. After each run, you stack courthouse parking receipts across the dashboard. On the buzzing road phone, a property manager demands answers before losing applicants. You wait at clerk windows while numbered service tickets consume deadlines. Across a marked eviction docket, you separate false matches from real histories. Inside your legal pad, you study county fee schedules taped to the cover. The frozen courthouse terminal blocks your eviction verification during rush orders. You call every alternate clerk source you know from the courthouse steps. An angry screening client threatens cancellation through the speakerphone log. You study the county boundary map and see coverage gaps deciding landlord momentum. In the elevator mirror, lawyers pass while you carry paper folders. Before afternoon records windows close, 3 county line signs blur past. You slump in the driver's seat under dim parking garage lights. In courthouse basement directories, you mark the hidden records that slow every search. Across the handwritten records map, you understand that speed lives in record locations. You build a regional route sheet beyond basic database searches. Level 3. Screening Analyst. You unlock the busy screening operations room, 26, earning $4,800 a month. At the dual monitor workstation, you run bureau access and screening software. You review credit, eviction, criminal, rental, and income files in queue. With a restricted access badge, you enter data rooms most employees never see. Hundreds of Monday applications flash red after analysts load the massive queue. You answer the ringing landlord phone as a landlord demands approval before flags clear. At your desk, you reconcile bureau data against courts, employers, and landlords. Beside a microwaved burrito tray, applicants' six-figure incomes sit in files you read. You call employers from verification forms lacking clean income paperwork. On the county whiteboard, you track turnaround times by region. Dispute calls stack inside the headset as you sit forward. You handle immediate correction demands with an applicant dispute ticket open. Besides Social Security alerts, you separate identity mismatches from genuine balances. You fax landlords for rental histories missing from databases. Across the monitor wall, analysts flag frozen credit files in red. Before disputed files, you study the FCRA compliance poster. A property manager pushes unverifiable income while you mark the risk note. You escalate risky files with notes on identity conflicts. By mistake, you attach the incorrect eviction match to a similar named applicant. You snap off the headset and stand over the tangled cord. At the compliance review table, a reviewer questions every matching step. You read the dispute letter beside housing consequences and lawsuit risk. Against returned faxes, you weigh applicant stakes against disposable lunches. You stay rigid while supervisors audit notes from the chair. Across future files, you mark hazards around similar names. You correct the screening report and see accuracy as the real product. Before the next queue opens, you rebuild the revised matching checklist around accuracy before speed. Level 4. Property Manager Account Rep. The manager hands you a rolling demo case, $7,500 a month now. You drive between property offices with the mileage reimbursement binder. In a tailored navy suit, landlords treat you like a specialist. You translate screening reports into rules staff can follow. Beside your peeling apartment counter, you help protect million-dollar buildings. A hotel ballroom watches as you fill the projection screen with a report. You train leasing teams on denials without fair housing violations. Across marked pricing sheets, a regional manager argues speed while you defend process. You carry sample files through lobby after lobby in the case. At the Q&A microphone, you stand straighter before waiting owners. Inside apartment leasing offices, you review application flow. With a highlighted denial matrix, you show where judgment becomes inconsistency. Behind trade show curtains, landlords invite you into private lunches because of your badge. You confront a broker selling cheaper, unchecked searches from a flyer. Rows of property owners study your giant missed eviction slide. You work from a tablet loaded with mock integrations. At intake trays, you coach front desks through handoffs and decisions. Applicant complaints trigger inconsistent denial reviews, and you lose client trust. In the hotel parking lot, you pace before calling the account. You face leasing supervisors blaming reports for staff mistakes. Across mismatched policy binders, you see sales cannot fix broken clients. Through the night windshield, you rehearse compliance answers while exhaustion builds. You map client criteria beside portfolio size on spreadsheet printouts. Inside Marble headquarters, executives receive you after apartment office breakfasts. Trade event vendors crowd the hall with screening and data booths. You start a blank compliance blueprint for policies, workflows, and controls. Level 5. Compliance Operations Lead. The day of bureau audit you turn 33. $11,000 a month runs through glass-walled office. Security staff unlock controlled data access doors as audit day begins across secured corridors. You run between operations, legal meetings, and client headquarters. On the encrypted laptop, you enter restricted bureau systems under audit rules. You rewrite workflows to reduce false matches and approval delays. In a crisp suit, you ignore the buzzing family call phone. You defend procedures while bureau auditors inspect every control. At the locked shredding console, you oversee identity checks and access logs. You train staff on disputes, notices, and permissible purpose. Behind the observation window, auditors watch operations while you sit rigid. Call center agents absorb applicant disputes across the morning. You visit enterprise clients in charcoal suits cut for executive rooms. You standardize approval criteria across an entire property portfolio. Lawyers challenge the notice packet while you defend adverse action language. Under federal warning signs, you monitor clean desk inspections. 3 crises converge on the board as backlog, audit, and escalation overwhelm the team. In the service stairwell, you laugh once before calling legal. You clear escalations from applicants, regulators, and property executives. Near controlled files, you sleep under an office blanket. Auditors inspect locked cabinets across the cabinet inspection aisle. You study handoff boards and recognize fragile manual bottlenecks. At the midnight window, you stare outward, wired past closing. You push executives through speakerphone towards slower, compliant decisions. Beside bureau deadlines, you track dispute aging on dashboard printouts. You sign for a brass office key beside senior managers. On the bottleneck drawing, you sketch automation past clerks and faxes. Level 6. Independent screening broker. You set foot in upstairs rented office as owner at 37, pulling $19,000 a month. On the portal homepage, your company name finally faces landlords. You sell directly to landlords, agents, and local managers. At a folding table, you own the logo without owning polish. A packed bank room faces your banner and folding chairs. You bundle credit, eviction, criminal, income, and rental checks. Beside taped cords, you work near shred bins and file locks. You persuade a skeptical duplex owner across a kitchen table. On the approval call board, you handle urgent evening landlord calls. You drive the parking pass SUV between courthouses and landlord events. Beside the logo banner, landlords photograph your name while you grin. You resolve identity matches before bad denials spread. Folding chairs fill with landlords holding folders during your workshop. You negotiate guarded referral relationships in the attorney waiting room. Across county coverage maps, you recruit former clerks and leasing agents. Behind your locking file room door, you store sensitive files. Above another company's sign, you sell trust under your own logo. You employ 2 analysts under whiteboard targets you set. Across a handwritten referral web, you see competitors cannot fake service. You lose landlords when a trusted analyst joins a competitor. Before driving across town, you slam the workshop planner shut. You confront wavering landlords at the rival parking lot. Through kitchens, meetups, and apartment offices, you rebuild accounts. Workshop demand fills the bank's overflow doorway. Under after-hours whiteboard glow, you stand awake and hungry for scale. You track service calls the portal still cannot replace. Through an integration roadmap contract, you hire a developer. Level 7. Regional screening company owner. The years thin out. At 42, $48,000 a month moves through secured regional suite. You run multi-state teams across disputes, verifications, and sales. At the etched glass entrance, counsel and audit staff gather around your brand. You design screening rules for property managers across state lines. A crowded expo booth watches while your staff runs live screening demos. You debate court data coverage with a vendor guarding territory. Inside client headquarters, you embed decisions into leasing workflow. Trainers carry your regional client logos inside approval guide cartons. Beside taller booths, you draw fewer crowds but serious landlords. You open county coverage through researchers and data feeds. At the escalation roundtable, managers demand speed without legal risk. You coordinate dispute, verification, compliance, and integration teams under deadlines. Near the counsel suite, you stage bureau audit preparation. Expo aisles pack around you with landlords carrying tote bags. You organize regional contracts by portfolio and state coverage. After cheaper instant approvals reach clients, you read the competitor packet. Across the tense sales bullpen, you bark, "Save the account" instructions. You defend report quality to a client tempted by discounts. On empty expo carpet, you stand wired after the crowd clears. You hear landlords ask whether screening plugs into leasing software. Around the vast hall, vendors sell the leasing future. You reframe sales around fraud prevention and defensible policy. Before competitors lock channels, you press integration vendors for access. You send branded trainers to associations with rolling demo cases. Across integration requests, you see embedded software beating trusted reports. You commit to national integrations and fraud detection on the roadmap wall. Level 8. Screening Platform Founder. By national SaaS launch year 48, your income crosses $160,000 a month. You lead enterprise visits where screening disappears into leasing systems. Above headquarters, staff mount volume screens and fraud alerts over the floor. Multi-city fraud clusters spread across the peak season map as analysts update it. You tune models for fake identities and altered pay stubs. In the partner boardroom, you negotiate API placement against guarded workflows. You send implementation crews nationwide with branded airport training cases. At the evidence board, you compare IDs, stubs, phones, and failures. Luxury towers become risk maps as you study them, not homes. Application ring patterns glow after analysts load the peak season fraud war room. You challenge income verification partners over unreliable applicant data. On the client summit stage, operators compare approvals, delinquency, and fraud. You travel with executives through client towers and partner offices. Across trust and safety rows, you coordinate disputed automated decisions. Application bursts hit city maps as the leasing season command team tracks them. You hear landlords demand speed without ugly denial headlines. Beside integration logos, you display income verification and leasing partners. Privacy complaints and coverage questions bring a regulator inquiry letter to your desk. In the legal hallway, you demand facts before statements. Beneath silent cameras, you stand alone after the summit. You face consumer lawyers questioning automated denials and data accuracy. Across media monitors, critics turn every scale advantage into a target. You rebuild product reviews around privacy, auditability, and appeals. Behind headquarters glass, contractors expand a new trust and safety wing. You wait in the partner lounge, watched by software giants. You prepare the scrutiny briefing wall for regulators and software giants. Level 9. National Rental Risk Infrastructure Owner. The year you turn 56, $650,000 a month runs through your hands. Analysts track metro application volume across the national operations floor. You command briefing rooms filled with REITs and bureau partners. Across the itinerary wall, assistants move your schedule between headquarters, conferences, war rooms, and audits. You align fraud prevention with compliant rental decisioning at scale. At the bureau table, you challenge data rights and audit exposure. A packed hall hears your keynote on tenant fraud and risk. Beneath giant screens, you carry the old courthouse access badge. You walk teams through fraud rings spanning multiple states. In Skyline Suites, you host software giants and apartment operators. Staff display national contracts under controlled access before client signings. At leasing desks, client teams approve move-ins through tablets. You push back when operators demand denial speed over review. Across the audit floor, you supervise data security and screening fairness. On model boards, you separate fraud signals from protected class risk. A towering booth dominates the National Expo aisle under your brand. Product staff turn renter phone demos into screening decisions across the wall. You stop the automated denial proposal despite the product chief. In the war room, you slam the door and call compliance leadership inside. You confront growth targets and backlash risk at the divided council table. Inside the silent briefing room, you hold steady while everyone waits. On the pipeline map, you see trust holding every decision together. You order review gates into every high-risk automated denial. From the operations balcony, you return to infrastructure running under your name. Across the hall, thousands of managers move beneath your glowing booth. You stand on the balcony above an industry running on your system.